In Flames, Foregone. Sorry again for the noise. And also sorry for the weird looking angle. You're gonna have to get used to it because apparently the way my camera is set up is. So yeah. Unless I can find a better way to set this up. I may have to start officially investing in a GoPro. Regardless, I will have to delay this because of some personal issues that I had to attend to that I'm not going to get into. Though if you're wondering, people are people and they don't understand what's good and what's trash because they bend up your shit. I'm lucky I found it in it. But anyways, Foregone being the 75, 14th studio album. Probably could have just looked it up anyway and it have said to me, yep. 14th studio album from Swedish heavy metal band. Or at least some of its foundation is still from Sweden. There's some American influences here and there. At this current state, they were one of the pioneering melodic death metal acts out there. I've been looking for an excuse to go to their discography, and everything I've heard so far coming out of this record made me actually curious to want to check this out. But actually, finally deep dive into their discography. I finally did that. And yeah, I get why people are talk up their 90s to 2000 to the 2000 album Clayman like they do. I kind of get why some people were kind of worried with the follow-up of Reroute to Remain because that record, God, honestly, they didn't need to remaster. I've yet to hear the remix version of Clayman, known as Clayman 2020, or at least that portion of it, not the reworkings that are here are abysmal. But the stuff I wanted to hear from this band, and I even dreaded the stuff that everyone was shitting on. And I have hot takes involving this band that are at least hot takes towards the metal community and the In Flames fandom in large in terms of what they think is good and what isn't. And sometimes I think those In Flame fans are also about the same as Metallica fans. I'll get to my point in a minute. Because, holy crap, y'all overhate on the 2010 stuff. So much, unnecessarily. I might, because I would rather listen to most of it than Reroute to Remain. Because of how abysmal that production is. If they just remix that damn thing, I'd like it more. And probably might like it potentially more than Cold Clarity, which I think which as far as I'm concerned, is my favorite. Everyone says it's the last of the good In Flames records. It's honestly, to me, the last of the great In Flames records. Up until this point. I listened to their follow-up records, which were, give me a minute, even Lunar Strain, their actual debut, is really good. Soundtrack, I liked Soundtrack to Your Escape. I was fine with Sense of Purpose. Sounds of a Playground Fading was fine as well. I almost weirdly I kind of prefer it over the Reroute to Remain and Soundtrack to Your Escape, honestly. I'm debating on saying that for Soundtrack to Your Escape, though, but there's just something about Sense of Purpose that just comes across to me. Apparently it was 2006. Not 2005, whoopsie. Although I'm told in some sources it's 2005. That was weird. But yeah. And initially, I was expecting the worst going into Siren Charms, and I came out smelling like a rose, guys, with all these other records, and I'm like, where's the bad? I see questionable, but where's the actual bad? I mean, like, the most questionable being the PTSD I was getting from listening to that, whatever the name of that one album from 30 Seconds to Mars was, after that came out after A Beautiful Lie. That was way too child choir-ish. Way too reliant on it in the worst possible way. There are moments like that, but not even to the point that made me feel as visceral as that either. I just have a better understanding of what is good and what is bad post-grunge compared to apparently the metal community. Because it just feels like anytime a metal band goes in a rock direction, they bitch like a motherfucker. Ugh, and it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. But like I said, but when it comes to them, I get it. When it comes to them with their 90s with their 90s stuff up to Clayman, I get why y'all talk them up, because at least I would rather listen to all that stuff, at least way more than I will ever say than anyone says about At the Gates Slaughter of the Soul. It's fine, and then it goes to shit the moment the last track hits. And I don't mean the keyboards, I mean those fucking guitars. As a guitarist, who the fuck told them that was a good idea? Not everything that is discussed. You had a good guitar sounds throughout the rest of the record, and you should have stuck with it to the end instead of whatever the fuck you did at the end. Oh, fucking hell, man. I'm getting the same feeling about talking about how people talk about these 2010s albums the same way a lot of people over-hate on the last ADTR album. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. But I tell you what, I do like. And in fact, when I went through my discography review, I stopped at Come Clarity, was a little leery about finishing the rest of it. Listened to Foregone like a couple times. Wound up deciding to go back and finish up, which is part of the reason why I delayed as much as I did. And yeah, I think it's just some of y'all in the metal community just can't handle when the bands decide to go in a more rock direction. Maybe there's some to lyricism, but I don't really go to In Flames. I never really thought of that for In Flames, especially when, you know, they start out off as melodic death metal, and their style is less known for clean singing, so it's not like you're going to get a whole lot out of it. At least not until, you know, Come Clarity to me. Yeah. Though I will say the current guitarist that's in this band right now, he definitely helped out a lot. And I didn't find the guitars in the other records, previous 3 albums, that bad. I think that's what saved that record, those records, actually. At least to me. But yeah, I mean, from the start and that's what leads me to this. With the starting this thing, not having to start off with the beginning of all things that will end, which was great. And then you heard the State of Slow Decay that I introed you guys with. But it's Meet Your Fucking Maker that just fucking wrecks and has such a great chorus. I even like Bleeding. I mean, everyone wants to bitch at the cleans, apparently. I don't find them that problematic here. It kind of works in places here and there. A lot of people want to bitch about Pure Light of Mine, but I kind of like this track. It's just the same people that I think are being stupid about it. Though I will agree and totally understand if most of y'all say The Great Deceiver and Meet Your Maker are the best tracks on this freaking album. They are. You're not wrong in saying that. Initially, I was meh about In the Dark, but even tracks I initially didn't think I would like have grown on me. Even in the Transmission, which I feel like they didn't need to end it so climactically. I give I the Mask a little more credit for the way they end things off than this. But But even still, somehow this album makes me want to come back to it, man. Foregone Part 1 was really damn good. Part 2 has its moments. I'd say Part 1 is stronger than Part 2. I like Pure Light of Mind, and I feel like people should stop bitching about that track since it goes into The Great Deceiver, which is amazing. In the Darkest, I weirdly do like a dialogue in B flat minor. Cynosure, however you pronounce Cynosure, I guess. But I guess it's Cynosure. But to me, like, I love the chorus for Bleeding Out as well. I mean, State of Soul is pretty solid, but I do love them opening in a classic In Flames style with this. Some people want to bitch about this intro, but I like it. But I like it, and it's fine. And it's a nice, like, calm before the storm, which Dodo Clay and Meet Your Maker really bring forth. So, but to me, overall, not only is this probably one of the better In Flames records technically since Come Clarity, I can't say it's better than Come Clarity, but if you are a fan, I think you'll really like this thing. Very, very much. Very, very, very much. Much if you haven't already been listening to it by this point, by the time you've listened to see my review here. So, yeah. I can't say masterclass, but what I can say is it's a strong thumbs up to a light horns on this one, guys. And I've pretty much enjoyed this record, this Foregone album, and very much, even more than probably most, because those people are still being bitchy about the rock stuff. And there are some aspects maybe about the auto-tune, but some of it actually works in their favor compared to some artists who don't know how to do it. Or at least they learned how to, handle it better. As the chorus of Meet Your Maker is a great example of that. I don't think they've done anything on this record that is nearly as questionable, or at least made me think it was questionable, in the same sense as any of the thing that I would say off of the past 3 records to me. Not truly questionable. Just in a bad way. At least not in that bad kind of, nearly close to bad, but not really. Because honestly, I'd just say those records are really, when it comes to the Siren Charms, and I get it, I might let Battles slide for some people about that, but I wouldn't really even say that's bad. It's just meh. And Eye of the Mask and that are kind of mid. But I don't think they really have a bad record. I just think the reputation of the 2010 stuff just gets a lot of over-hate. And I feel it's also because most of the metal community just avoids post-grunge in general like the plague, and just considers it all butt rock, and doesn't even give any of it a chance, especially if you're in Canada, because of fucking Nickelback, or Nickel Crack, I should say, is really what the problem is, because none of them know a good Nickelback record. Or what a good Nickelback record is, because anything else is just Nickel Crack. You've heard it here. If you hadn't already heard me say that before, you've heard it now. So, yeah. Strong thumbs up. Light horns. Which is, for some people who are wondering, an 8 to... somewhere between it's kind of in the 7 range, maybe almost leaning towards an 8, I guess, with this record. So, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this thing. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I expected to like it, but not as much. It was a nice... I'm just glad this was the time for him to finally get into some In Flames, And Meet Your Maker is definitely still, one of the tracks of the year, even though that got toppled for me by the recent release of Lost for Linkin Park. because probably for nostalgia reasons, but, you know, it's nostalgia that works, and it isn't, like, pandering, necessarily. So, but anyways, that's my thoughts on In Flames in general. I've yet to figure out whether or not I'm going to say Clayman because of the production, I guess, is better than the other albums, but I get how some people want to say Colony over that or Jester Race. It's hard to really say with that for me, so. But yeah, I get the production issue, the loudness war issue of the Real to Remain. If they just remix that thing, we're set. We're good. I feel like I might wind up liking that record a little bit more than possibly Come Clarity, maybe. Or Center to Your Escape, so. But that's, you know, that's all they need to really do, and I might put it up a little higher, if not. But it's to the point where I would almost rather kind of listen to I the Mask at its best than having to go through that kind of production. Like, it really kneecaps it. It's not like a Golden Grey situation that Baroness had. It's not like that. Because y'all know how I felt about that record and how good that actually was in spite of it. So, you know. And there could be that potential with that record. So, I definitely will probably champion a remaster remix of that. Well, forgot the name of the producer who did that for Rush, which is 2001 record that had that issue. Maybe they do something like that with that. I'm wondering if the remaster remix's mixed portion of the actual album is any good and not the, because I know the reworking sucks for the 2020. That was the 2020 EP, but which is why I'm not worried about that, because I just know the original Clayman's good and Pinball Map's pretty good. I think it's Pinball Map, but anyways. Just what did you guys think of Foregone? Did you like it? Are you still, you know, like, do you somehow think it's better than Come Clarity, or almost up to their 90s standards? I think, like, it's a good return to form in that regard, while still kind of maintaining what they were kind of doing that did work about their 2010s, that people bothered to give that a chance, musically at least, you know. Metalheads sometimes. I can be stubborn too, but not this ridiculous. I don't know. That, or I need a certain kind of headset to tell me a different story, maybe. I don't know those records, but what did you think? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.